Our basic survival strategies come in two main flavors: eat and not be eaten. In psychology, these are called positive and negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement can be summed up as learning to find food sources so that we can remember where they are in the future and go back and eat some more. It's called positive reinforcement because when our ancient ancestors were foraging for food and found a good food source, their stomach would send a dopamine signal to their brain that says, remember what you ate and where you found it. Don't forget this spot. Come back tomorrow when you get hungry again. In fact, this type of learning is so important that we have multiple places in our bodies that send these signals to our brains so that we don't miss that message. Both our mouths and our stomachs contribute to this dopamine signaling. In fact, it only takes 3 elements for us to learn through positive reinforcement: a trigger or a cue, a behavior, and a result or a reward. With positive reinforcement, we learn to repeat behaviors that help us survive. Often these are described as approach behaviors because we learn to approach the good stuff. Imagine your favorite flavor of ice cream. How did it become your favorite? Trigger: see the ice cream. Behavior: eat the ice cream. Result: yum. Repeat. In pre-refrigerator days, our cave people ancestors had another job beyond finding and remembering where food was. They had to not become food for other animals who were also on the hunt. Negative reinforcement largely works the same way as positive reinforcement. It still has the trigger, behavior, result, consequence. Yet it is called negative reinforcement because instead of learning to repeat something that is rewarding, for example, a pleasant experience, we learn to avoid something that feels punishing, an unpleasant experience. If our ancestors headed out to explore a new part of the savanna or the forest, they didn't know if predators were also exploring the same parts looking for food themselves. So they had to be extra careful, extra vigilant, always on the lookout for danger. If they heard a rustling in the bushes and saw a tiger, there's the trigger, and then they ran away, they learned to run the next time they heard that type of sound, that trigger of the bushes rustling, so that they didn't get eaten in the future, which would certainly be an unpleasant punishment. Now, all you have to remember about positive and negative reinforcement is this: positive reinforcement is about learning to repeat pleasant experiences, and negative reinforcement is about learning to avoid unpleasant experiences. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Negative reinforcement isn't limited to running away from predators or learning that touching a hot stove is painful so that we don't burn ourselves in the future. Our brains lump fear and pain into that general category of unpleasantness. Fear is unpleasant. Pain is unpleasant. Emotional pain is unpleasant. Losing the game or competition, feeling bored, feeling guilty, feeling stressed, all of these are unpleasant. Now, if we touch a hot stove and accidentally burn ourselves, we learn that the next time we see a hot stove, there's the cue, not to touch it, there's the avoidant behavior, so that we don't get burned. At times when we are stuck in a negative emotion, our brain says, hey, I know to help with pain. This feeling is also painful. Let me help you make it go away so that you feel better. So we listen to that voice in our head. When we're sad or we're mad, our survival brain starts searching for something that will perk our mood up or distract us from our anger. Unfortunately, one of the few tricks that it has up its sleeve is an exquisite taste for food. Remembering that ice cream tastes good, our survival brain tells us to ignore the fact that we're not hungry and go ahead and have a scoop. We quickly learn that eating feels better than wallowing in our emotions. Cue, that unpleasant emotion. Behavior, eat something sweet. Reward, feel better. Of course, these eating habits get positively reinforced as well. Every celebration, from birthday parties to workplace milestones to personal achievement, links food with mood. And every time we eat because of our emotions, we reinforce this habit. Feel good? Eat. Feel bad? Eat some more. This is how we learn to pair food with mood. Every time we eat, not because we're hungry, but because of a mood or an emotion, they get linked into our very fabric of being. Notice how it isn't simply a one-way street where our emotions are driving us to eat. That saying, we are what we eat, goes beyond the nutrients that we get when we consume calories. Just like mood can affect what and when we eat, food can affect how we feel. Eating to distract ourselves from negative emotions, cheer ourselves up, or simply do something when we're bored has those immediate effects that feed back and drive these unhealthy eating patterns and habits. They also have not so immediate effects. For example, when I eat a lot of pasta, I feel pretty sleepy about an hour later. When I eat a lot of sugar or drink a sugar-sweetened beverage, I get a sugar rush and crash shortly thereafter, which includes irritability and other unpleasant moodiness. In contrast, when I eat minimally processed or whole foods, my energy level is much steadier and my moods are much less, well, moodier. Now, there's a growing body of research linking diets high in refined sugars to impaired brain function, worsening symptoms of mood disorders, and so on. This has even led to the recent emergence of an entire subfield in psychiatry. It's called nutritional psychiatry. So see if you can play with this today. Start mapping out your own eating habit loops. What are the triggers? What's the behavior? What's the result? You can even download this free habit map or PDF and print it out as a way to get started. As you map these habit loops out, start paying attention to how eating different foods makes you feel, not just in the moment, but an hour later, 2 hours later, even the next day. For example, what triggers your urge to eat? Are you hungry, stressed, or bored? What's your go-to snack? How does eating a prepackaged snack like chips or a candy bar affect your mood and energy level compared to a piece of fruit? And what happens when you drink a sugar-sweetened beverage as compared to a seltzer or good old water? See what you can learn about your food-mood relationship so that you can feel your body and brain in ways that put you in the driver's seat instead of your moods driving you. You might even clap your hands as you start singing to a different tune.